one of the things that's going to help Nico a lot, and one of the things that's going to help Josh Heupel a lot. And I watched the Connor Stallions Netflix special yesterday. The in-helmet communication, which we haven't talked about very much, is a real thing, and it's happening. And Josh Heupel doesn't have to worry about his signs being stolen. If you haven't seen the Connor Stallion thing, listen, Tennessee has had their signs stolen. Michigan has had their signs stolen. Everybody's had their signs stolen because, according to very credible people, there's a subculture of their fanboys that get a part of your program, and then every Sunday they exchange info. Okay. So, yes, everybody's had their signs stolen. Did it happen in the South Carolina game in 2022 or 22? Yeah. I don't know, but it certainly looked like it. So I wouldn't be surprised because they're all exchanging information. But the thing about the in-helmet communication, Caleb, is you will have a situation where Tennessee's offensive brain trust can talk to a highly intelligent quarterback from play to play. I mean, that's never happened before. So this type of offense, now I think there's a lot of pressure on Joey Halzle to make sure that he is seeing things correctly, because you can't see things from the field. Only Steve Spurrier is the only guy I know that could see defensive backs and call things from the field. I don't think anybody else can do that. But I think a lot of pressures on Joey Halzle to make sure he recognizes the right coverage, and then they get that passed on to Nico. But getting back to my original point, the in-helmet communication should only help a team that doesn't like to huddle and go tempo, right?
Oh, I totally agree. This is a big deal for, I mean, the whole point of no huddle was the quarterback does have to call the play sideline to sideline down the field. And now if you get somebody in the press box, I mean, they can tell Nico exactly what to do. Now, the question is Nico seeing the field and somebody from the press box is telling him something different? Is that going to confuse them a little bit where they're trying to who wins out on that? And could that be too much information? You know what I mean? And then cause you to freeze up a little bit.
I think it's great to have Chattanooga as a first opponent with the in-helmet communication, don't you?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you got Georgia Clemson this week. Could there be some snafus there? There definitely could. But Caleb, it was the fastest offense in the country when it was run right in 2022. Could it be even faster this year with in-helmet communication?
See, I wonder if in-helmet communication could slow you down. Because you're trying to think. Because, like, okay, you're throwing a. Have you ever talked before? You've done radio, Dave. What's the worst thing about doing radio? When you're talking and someone's in your earpiece telling you, all right, you need to talk about this and get ready to count down. And you're like, wait, I'm trying to talk and get this out. And you're telling me this in my ear. What if they start doing that with Nico while, like, okay, I'm running the no huddle offense. I complete a pass. Now let me run up and try to run another play. And during that time, Joey Halsey's like shouting things into his ear. And he's like, can I just run the play that I instinctually feel like I need to run? I feel like that could happen.
Well, he would still the old system have to look to the sidelines and get a signal in.
I don't think, not with this offense. I didn't see them looking to the sidelines a lot for signals. I think they looked to the sidelines on the first play, and then they run it. If you ever looked at it, now this was more Hendon Hooker. I don't know if they did this with Joe Milton as much last year, but I think Hendon Hooker was just running the offense down the sideline. I mean, down the field a lot of times.
Interesting. Well, I believe it could potentially make them faster. I mean, they were the fastest offense when they were run right, so it's hard to get much faster than that. The total number of plays, they got more than anybody in 2022. So, Caleb, there's great potential for this offense with or without in-helmet communications. But I'll tell you one thing. You should be very, very happy to have in-helmet communications, because if you haven't watched that Connor Stallions thing, know that you need to watch it if you're a college football fan, because I learned something about a subculture of football that I didn't know before. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Tennessee's signs have been stolen, and stolen often. Everybody's signs have been stolen and stolen often. The only reason we know about this subculture is because Connor Stallions, who the poor kid, I mean, they just pushed him to do all this stuff, started buying tickets for his friends to go to other games and record the games. And he comes off kind of as a smug jackass, to be honest with you, but it was insightful. There is a subculture of guys that aren't quite coaches, because the coach wouldn't want to be involved with this, right? I mean, you don't want to be Rodney Garner calling all these guys on a Sunday, these 25-year-old dudes, and saying, "Hey, what does this son mean?" But there is a subculture at every team, and Tennessee likely has one, that they swap and exchange ideas and what they've learned about upcoming opponents on a Sunday. I'm just curious what you think about that in general. It's bizarre.
I mean, it is, but it's. I think it's a bigger deal when you're stealing signs in baseball and you know the pitch that's coming. I don't think it's as big of a deal when you know the sign in football. I'm just going to be honest. I've said that for a while. I think so much of it is reacting.
Totally disagree. Navy played Ohio State close because Connor Stallions figured out all the play calls within the first two drives.
Change your signs.
Not when you don't know they're there. He comes up to the defensive coordinator and he says, "Power right." The defensive coordinator says, "Who are you?" And they run power right. From that point forward, he listens to Connor Stallions. I mean, you don't know your signs are being stolen. And Caleb, I think he is, and I don't mean this in any sort of insulting way, I think he was semi-autistic. I think that, or is it like a savant? Is that a way to put it?
Yeah. Like where you can like memorize things on like first read. No, I know what you're talking about.
Right. Like you and I would take, let's say 50 plays to figure out signals. He could figure it out in like 5.
I can see that.
Even if you change them at halftime, that's scary. But I don't think there are a lot of those out there. But if I'm Josh Heupel, as secretive as I am in general, I love in-helmet communications. We haven't talked about it much, but I think Josh Heupel, I think this is a good thing to batten down the hatches, make sure that something doesn't happen. And I think it's could make Tennessee a little bit faster.
We'll see. I think it's going to slow them down. I don't think they're going to do it a lot. I actually don't think they're going to do it a lot. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think it helps. I don't think it would have helped Peyton Manning when he was playing. I think Josh Heupel wants his quarterbacks to kind of run like how Peyton Manning ran the offense, but to slow it down. But with fewer options and not as much film studies, Peyton Manning. With them, it's just read the safety.
Yeah, okay. I can see that. We shall see. Tennessee, Chattanooga, 12:45 on Saturday.